Welcome to the demo for my 2023 capstone project. We are doing this specific texture that involves normal maps, and I wanted to create this demo so that I could showcase how exactly the texture is accomplished. So if we take a look at this, for example, I can show it here. This is sort of the end result, right? We can take a look and see this cat. This is something that I recorded before, and you can see this really interesting painter texture that's all over the cat's body. And over here on the side, we can see the normal map laid out, and it creates this really interesting texture. So to start out here, I've just got Maya, and we're going to go through the entire process step by step, just to give an example of how you can accomplish this. So after fiddling a little bit, I'm happy with this little guy. I don't even know what he is. We're just gonna name him Bob. This is Bob. He's gonna be our little test subject, our little showcase guy. So what we're gonna wanna do is we need to make sure of a few things. One, this works best on one solid object, so I highly recommend that whatever shape you're trying to do, make sure it's one object. You can do a few objects, but it'll just take a little bit longer. For this, we just got the one shape. We've just got Bob. Then we're gonna go UV, and we're gonna go into our UV editor. This is super important. We need to make sure that our little Bob is unwrapped. Now, you don't have to do this. You can unwrap it in any way that you want as long as it works out. I prefer to just do the unwrap because it tends to do it pretty well. I mean, look at that. That's all nice and neat and organized, all ready for us. Once we have Bob unwrapped, we're going to go ahead, go back into object mode, and we are going to export him. And we're going to export him as an FBX. Demo. I like to make a folder just for FBXs in my project folder. So we're just going to call this Bob 01. Export selection. Now that we've exported him as an FBX, we are going to go into Subtance Painter. This is how I import things. We're going to go into our FBX folder. There's Bob. We're just going to click and we're just going to drag Bob right into here. All of this is good. You want to make sure that in the new project thing, don't select any template. Don't worry about that. There's our file. There's Bob. Document resolution. We want that to be 248 because that's the resolution that Maya uses for its UVs. Everything else you don't need to touch. Okay. So here we have Bob. He's in here now, looking beautiful, very chubby and cute. Now there's a few things we have to do before we can start our painting. We're gonna go and we're gonna click on the little croissant for our baking. And in here, this is the tool that Subtance Painter uses to create various maps. You know, when you're using the process of creating maps and then you put it into Maya to make a material and you have all those little images and you can put them into stuff. This is where Subtance Painter makes those. We only need 2 of them though. So we're going to go over here, common settings. We are just going to do deselect all mesh maps, and then we're just going to select the normal and the world space normal. Now, it's important that we select just these 2, because if we had all these selected, it wouldn't hurt anything, but it would mean that we would have a whole bunch of extra files that we aren't really going to ever use. So just to keep things simple, we only need the essentials, the normal and the world space normal. Now that we've selected those, I'm going to go ahead and bake selected textures. You can see it does that real quick, and then we'll just return to painting mode. Okay, so what did that do for us? Baking those things does 2 things. One, it means that now we can go down and we can look at our mesh maps, and we can go to world space normal, and oh wow, Bob looks really colorful, doesn't he? This is our world space normal. All these different colors, what they mean in the brain of a computer is it tells the computer how light interacts with the object. It says something about the surface of the object. The reason this method works is because we're going to trick the computer into thinking that there's texture that isn't really there. Just like how you have normal maps for like gravel texture and stuff. A lot of people use this method in order to create texture without having to create extra geometry that bogs down the computer. But instead of making a sort of like texture of sand or gravel, we're going to make paint strokes. So we have this map, and we have, all these other things. But if I'm on my world space normal and I go and I click on a brush, say my basic hard brush, mesh maps are not paintable. I can't paint on this. That's really annoying. I really wish that they would just get rid of that, but I can understand why, because this is something that the program has generated, so it doesn't really want us to mess with it. So how do we paint on this? Well, we're going to go first into our texture set settings. And you can see that we have the normal and we have the world space normal. We're just gonna ignore those for right now. The first thing you're going to want to do is from here, go to the texture set settings. You're going to look for something called normal mixing. We're going to change that to replace. That's super important. This will not work if you do not change it to replace. It's going to be on combine just out of the gate, but change it to replace. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a fill layer, but we're going to change this to normal. Then we're going to create a fill layer. And you see it's going to be blue. What this fill layer is doing is it's creating a whole fill layer, and since we're in the normal settings, it's going to treat all the color of the fill layer as though it is part of the normal map. So we can take a look at our normal, and this is what that looks like. But we're going to change this to be our world space normal. So we can go ahead and delete this layer, and I'm going to change this blending mode, and we're going to change it to normal, and that will allow us to paint on this. Well, almost. It's an important step. The next thing we're going to do is down in our material properties for our fill layer, we want to get rid of all of these little things except for normal, because we don't want to be painting on any other aspect of this material except for the normal map. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the color. So right now we have this weird, it's like entirely blue, and we just don't want that. We want happy rainbows. Happy rainbows are what we want. So we're going to go into our textures, and that's this little guy. You can scroll all the way down to the bottom, or you could just type in world space like this, world, and it should pop up right away. There's our world space normal for Bob. We're just going to click this, and we're going to drag it down into this color. So now let's take a look at what the material looks like after we do that. Material. Ooh. You can see how the lighting on Bob has changed pretty significantly. If I undo that, there he is normally. Boop, back on. How has this happened? Well, the world space normal, now that we've put it in place of where our normal is, ooh, it's all colorful, super colorful. And it's telling the camera how these things interact with light. And you can see now it's on a single channel, so we should be able to paint on this. You may notice it's still, fill layers are not paintable. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on our fill layer. We're going to go down, we're going to add paint. And just like with our fill layer, we want to take out all of these things so that we are only doing the normal. NRM. We only want to interact with the normal. And just like our fill layer, instead of having it on this setting, we're going to change it to normal. Alright, now that that's all done, I should be able to take my little eyedropper, go on to Bob here, and let's take a look at this soft edge. That's super pretty, but what if I wanted to... Ooh, look at that. Wow. So we're like painting little things on it. And there you go. You can paint on them now. If we take a look at the material, it's actually doing interesting things with the lighting. So now the lighting, if we were to take this into Maya, Maya interprets that as, ooh, that is one whole side of Bob. And that side is this level of lightness. So we can go normal. And we can do really any texture at this point. Let's say that, Bob, you look like you could be made out of whatever texture we want to do. What is this? Dragon scales? Oh, heck yeah. Bob, you want some dragon scales? It's not the best. This probably isn't the best application of it. We go undo. The brush that I used for all of these guys should be this one. Yes. This is a Photoshop brush, Archive Inker. I just really like the texture that it has on it. So how do we get our paint stroke effect? Well, I'm going to increase the size of my brush a little bit. Yeah, that's better. And I'm just going to go through this process of I'm going to eyedrop a color. I'm going to kind of boop, boop. Eyedrop a color next to it, boop, boop. And we kind of want to do this, especially to the edges of the object. I think those are some of the most important parts. But we're really just going around and simplifying out these colors. Where we see these nice gradients, they're nice, but we can really take advantage of them and turn them into sort of solid paint strokes. Just keep doing the eyedropper, keep going around, follow the edge flow or the intended edge flow of our character. Just like that. I'll get back to you when I'm done doing this, but I'm going to go over Bob and I'm going to follow sort of this idea for Bob's face. And I'm going to do this to the rest of the character. Okay. So now that we've gotten all of Bob sort of textured up here in my nice little painter style, it's already coming together. It's already looking pretty nice. And you can see over here on my normal map, this is what the UV set looks like all laid out. I didn't do the bottom because, well, we're not really going to see it. Don't feel bad about avoiding areas or just ignoring areas of the character that are never going to be seen. You know, work smarter, not harder. Another step that we can do, if we want to push this a bit further, is we can add interesting sort of details to Bob that otherwise wouldn't really be seen. And what do I mean about that? So, taking a look at Bob, he's cute, you know, he's all right. But maybe I want to define his features a bit more. Maybe I want to give him a face. If we look at the material, ooh, that's looking interesting. Look at that. Oh, he's all sketchy and cute. We can take a look and see what different colors are going to do. That's already a pretty good shade. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm just going to lower the size here, and I'm going to give him a little face. I'm just going to do doot, 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 doot. And this really works if you're not going to animate the face. Like maybe say I want to give him little, I don't know, we'll give him little whiskers, or, ooh, here's a good idea. We can put little shapes on his feet, can't we? Boop, boop, yeah, why not? Doot, doot. You know, little paws. I don't really know what kind of creature. Ooh, see, this is one of those moments where I don't really like how that shade of gray looks against the other ones. So let's go back down to the normal. I'm going to try and pick a color closer to the area. Let's say this purple. I want to see, that's a bit better, but it's still too light. I think whatever color this dark, that dark right there, I want to see what that is. It can be kind of interesting. So it appears that this dark is actually this really bright cyan, but if we look at the material, yeah, it's like a different tone entirely. And we bring it over here and see it's all different again. It's really interesting to see what the computer thinks of these colors, like how it interprets them. But that's just part of the game, isn't it? Boop, boop. All right, you got little toes. What does that look like? Oh, that's cute. We'll give you little blushes. Unless we just want those to be your eyes. No, let's go back. I would rather have, how about this color? No, it doesn't show up enough. All right, this color it is. There we go. There we go. That's looking cute. So now we've given him little details on his face. So now that we've done all of that, there's just one last thing that we can do to take our little Bob friend to the next level. So I can hear you asking, what about colors? Because these are not the colors that Bob is going to be. This is just us telling the computer what shade to do Bob. But if we want to change the color of Bob, we're going to need to add a new fill layer. And this is very easy. We don't need to worry about this. Let's just add a new fill layer. Make sure that it's above your normal layer. We're going to change this one to normal as well. And we're going to change our view of it from looking at normal to base color. And right now it's filled with this gray. We're going to go down, we're going to delete everything, so make sure to get rid of all these little check marks except for the color, since this is going to be our color layer. You can see for a moment there, when normal was activated, it got rid of Bob's nice, beautiful normal map. And that is why it's so important to check off these things, because right here, this is saying that this fill layer has information on the normal map. But we don't want it to. We just want it to have information on the color layer, just like how this layer only has information on the normal map. So now we can add any kind of pre-existing thing that we want to this. If we want to do a cool material, we can. If we want to do just a base color, we can. I'm going to try and give Bob, let's see, what is this? Yeah, perfect. Beautiful little green skin. How lovely. And we can also, oh, well actually I don't like that. I don't like that as much. Let's just make him, that's cute. Yeah, we'll do that. And we can add a paint layer to this. So, and we'll change it from normal to color because we don't want it to have normal information. I'll change it to pink. And I'll just go in. And I like to color with the basic brushes. I'll go in, I'll make this pink. Yeah, little pink blushies. It's okay if it's messy. And there we go. There's our little friend. Now that we've done that, we have our color, we have our normal map, we want to export these textures. I'm going to rename this to Bob Color. And I'm going to go up to File, then I'm going to Export Textures. Now this is going to do a few different things, and we want to make sure that our settings are right because it can really mess up our stuff if they're not. First off, I like to go to Output, no, where is it? Yeah, here it is, the Output Template. And we are going to go to, what is it? I don't actually know. What is the thing? This one, this is the thing. We want to change the, okay. Now that we're in Export Textures, we're gonna go and we're gonna change the padding to Dilation plus Transparent. And this is super important for Maya, because Maya creates its UV maps with all of this empty space, but Painter likes to export it out as having like colors, so it will like weirdly stretch it out. So change it to dilation plus transparent, and then we're just going to look at our list of exports, and that's fine. We'll export this. Export successfully. I like to open the output directory so we can take a look at this. There's a lot of other ones in here because I've been doing a lot of other things. In here, this is the project folder. I like to do new folder, Substance. Oh, I have to choose a different name. That's dumb. Wait. Oh, well, there's already a Substance folder in here, so never mind. So we go into my Substance folder, and I only need 2 of these files. We need Bob Color Base, and we need Bob Color Normal, but I like to do the one that has the blue background because for some reason that one just looks better. So now we've got those in our project folder. There's a last step to this to really make our colors pop, and that's in Photoshop. So I'm going to go into Photoshop, and I'm going to open some files. So now in Photoshop, we're going to go to our project folder, Demo. We're going to go into Substance, and I'm going to open both of these files. Here they are. Here is our normal map. Nice and sketchy and colorful and beautiful. There's his cute little face. And here is the base color. So if we did this just on its own, it would look okay, but we can make it look better. I'm going to take this image, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it into the normal map. And I'm going to change this layer's information from normal all the way down to color. And now it's done something interesting. It's using the information from the normal map to change this into darker and lighter shades of green. And what's really nice is that it has the exact same paint strokes as our normal map. So I'm going to File, Export, Export As. PNG, make sure it's 248 and 248 in width and height. Export. And I'm just going to go into my demo, into my Substance folder, and I'm going to replace the base color with this new file. And so you can just select Bob Color, base color, and click Save. It'll say, do you want to replace it? Yes. Make sure you replace the base color file, not the normal map file. All right. Now that all of that is done, we can finally go back to Bob and give him his beautiful colors. Now you can do this with any shader. For this example, I'm going to use the AI Toon shader because that is what we did for my capstone project. So we're going to go down to Arnold. We're going to go to AI Toon. Oh, but before we do anything, I'm going to make sure I do this first. We want to go into our render settings because there are some settings that we want to change just to be sure. Yeah, 1080. You want to go into the Arnold renderer. You want to go to Filter, and instead of Gaussian, which is the base filter that it'll be in, you want to change it to Contour. This is how you get the best result out of your AI Toon shader. Make sure that the Contour filter is set. So we'll close that. Now we'll go back to our AI Toon, and we'll change the name right away because you never want to leave your file named the basic file. And I'll say Bob Color. Well, okay. I'll name it Bob Texture because, oh gosh, can I spell? Gosh. Texture. There we go. And we're going to go to Base. Base in AI Toon controls the color. So we're going to go to Color. We'll select File. image name, and now we're going to go into our Substance folder in here, and we'll do base color, open. And now we're going to do the same thing, but for some reason this gets a bit tricky. So go to Maya, create a new file node, connect the out color to the normal camera. Boop. And just like this one is going to be R, normal, open. And that's it. That's like all you have to do. I'll make these look a little bit nicer. There we go. So as you can see, file 1, our normal map, is connected to the normal camera. This one, our base color image, is connected to the base color of the Bob texture. So let's take a look and see what it looks like on Bob right now. We're going to do Arnold, lights. I'll just do a sky dome light. That's the easiest way of taking a look at this. Arnold, render. Oh, right, we actually have to, I'm sorry, we have to put it on. Assign existing material, Bob texture. Now let's take a look. Oh, there he is! There's our friend. Hello, Bob. Bob is looking pretty snazzy. He's got his little face. He's got all these things on him. You can see our painted texture is now on Bob. And there's a few benefits to doing this texture. For one, since all those paint strokes exist on the normal map, it'll actually change dynamically with the color. So Bob's color will change slightly as the lighting around him changes. We can do a few things to make Bob look better. One thing is we can add a tone map. And we're going to do that to Bob's base color. So in the AI Toon texture, we're going to go to base, we're going to go tone map, and then we're going to select this ramp. And this ramp is like a gradient on Bob. Oh, don't show this message. I hate it when it does that. And we can change this to whatever color we want. I like purple. We'll change it to purple. You can see it's adding a little bit of purple on the bottom of them. Maybe make it a little bit more blue. Yeah, you can do that. And we'll change this and we'll make it maybe this color. You can see it really changes it. The closer it is to white, the nicer it is. There we go. And that's always interesting to look at. You see it adds just a little touch of interesting color to Bob. There's other things we can do, like we can change the edge color or change other things. The stylized highlight or the rim lighting is also really interesting. Well, I hope that you found this demo to be helpful. I really like how Bob came out here. He's got some interesting shading going on with him. That is how you do the normal map painterly style on a character or any object, really. I hope that you take this and use it in your own projects and that you have fun with it.